Everyone knows the story of the sirens. Or at least, they think they do. Ask almost anyone to describe them, and you'll hear the same answer. Beautiful women. Long flowing hair. Half human, half fish. Mermaids who sat on lonely rocks, singing irresistible songs to passing sailors. It's one of the most famous images in mythology. There's just one problem. It's completely wrong. The original sirens looked nothing like that. In fact, if you had met one in ancient Greece, you probably wouldn't have mistaken it for a mermaid at all. You would have seen something far stranger. Something that looked more like a nightmare than a fantasy. And in 1891, one artist dared to paint them exactly as the ancient Greeks imagined them. The result confused audiences. Some admired it. Others hated it. Because it challenged an idea people had believed for centuries. The painting is called Ulysses and the Sirens, created by the English artist John William Waterhouse. At first glance, it seems like another beautiful painting from Greek mythology. But the longer you look, the more unsettling it becomes. The sea is restless. A narrow Greek ship cuts through dark water with desperate urgency. Every man on board is rowing with all his strength. No one speaks. No one looks around. Every oar strikes the water with perfect rhythm, as if stopping for even a second would mean certain death. Then your eyes reach the center of the ship. One man stands upright. Unlike the others, he isn't rowing. He's tied to the mast. Thick ropes wrap around his chest and arms, holding him firmly in place. Yet he struggles against them with everything he has. Not because someone captured him. Not because he's being punished. Because he ordered it. That man is Ulysses, better known in Greek mythology as Odysseus, one of the greatest heroes of the ancient world. A king, a warrior, the man who survived the Trojan War. But at this moment, none of those titles matter. Because even heroes know there are some temptations too powerful to resist. Look carefully at his face. He's not terrified. He's fascinated. His eyes aren't fixed on the sea. They're searching the sky. Listening. Reaching. Almost begging. Whatever he hears. It's stronger than reason. Stronger than fear. Even stronger than survival itself. Meanwhile, his crew continues rowing. Their faces remain cold and determined. Not one of them reacts to their captain's desperate struggle. It almost feels cruel, until you notice something unusual. Every sailor has sealed his ears. They cannot hear him. They cannot hear anything at all. Because silence is the only thing keeping them alive. And then, you finally see them. The creatures surrounding the ship. They aren't hiding beneath the waves. They aren't resting on distant rocks. They're everywhere. Gliding above the sailors. Landing on the ship. Watching every movement. Waiting patiently. At first, their faces appear almost peaceful. Young women. Beautiful. Calm. Almost innocent. Then your eyes move lower. The illusion disappears instantly. Their bodies aren't human. They aren't fish. They're enormous birds. Dark feathers cover powerful wings. Their feet end in razor-sharp talons capable of tearing flesh apart. They don't look seductive. They look predatory. Like vultures circling wounded prey. It's impossible to ignore. And that's exactly why this painting shocked people when it was first displayed. By the late 19th century, the world believed it already knew what a siren looked like. Waterhouse quietly reminded everyone. They had forgotten. But where did this strange image come from? To answer that, we have to travel nearly 3,000 years into the past, back to one of the oldest stories ever written, Homer's Odyssey. The epic begins after the Trojan War. Odysseus has survived battles, monsters, storms, and gods determined to destroy him. All he wants now is to return home. But the sea has one final challenge waiting for him. A place every sailor fears. An island no ship ever escapes. The home of the Sirens. Creatures whose voices are more dangerous than any weapon. Their song isn't loud. It isn't violent. It's beautiful. So beautiful that no one who hears it can resist following it. Ships drift toward the sound. Captains lose control. Crews abandon reason. Moments later, their vessels crash against hidden rocks. No survivors. Only silence. And the bones of those who came before. Most people assume the sirens tempted sailors with beauty. But that's another myth. According to Homer, their greatest weapon wasn't their appearance. It was their promise. Knowledge. When Odysseus approaches their island, the sirens call him by name. They already know who he is. They promise to reveal every secret. Everything that happened during the Trojan War. Everything happening across the world. Everything that will ever happen in the future. Imagine hearing that offer. To know every mystery. Every answer. Every truth humanity has ever searched for. For someone as curious as Odysseus, it was impossible to ignore. He didn't want to avoid the sirens. He wanted to hear them. Because if he survived, he would become the only man in history to hear the forbidden song and live to tell the story. But curiosity can destroy even the wisest person. Odysseus understood that better than anyone. So before his ship reached the island, he came up with a plan. One that sounds almost impossible. He ordered every sailor to melt beeswax and press it deep into their ears. No matter what happened, they must hear nothing. Then, he gave them one final command. Tie me to the mast. As tightly as you can. No matter what I say. Don't untie me. Even if I beg. Even if I threaten you. Even if I promise rewards. Ignore every word. Because once the song begins, I won't be thinking clearly anymore. And that's exactly the moment John William Waterhouse chose to paint. A hero, fighting not against monsters, but against his own desire. But here's the question that changes everything. Why did Waterhouse paint the sirens as giant birds? Why not the beautiful mermaids everyone already recognized? The answer lies in a detail that most people have never noticed. Because if you open Homer's Odyssey, you'll discover something surprising. Homer never actually tells us what the sirens looked like. Not once. He describes their voices, their song, their deadly temptation. But their appearance, it's left completely to the imagination. For centuries, that mystery remained unanswered. Then, long after Homer had died, Greek artists began giving the sirens a physical form. And the image they created wasn't half woman, half fish. It was half woman, half bird. Ancient Greek pottery shows them with graceful female faces, broad feathered wings, and powerful talons. Not elegant sea creatures, but terrifying predators of the sky. To the Greeks, birds represented messengers between life and death. They could travel where humans couldn't. They watched from above. And the sirens became symbols of that mysterious world between the living and the dead. Over the centuries, however, the story slowly changed. New generations retold the myth. Artists reimagined it. Writers added their own ideas. Eventually, the sirens merged with another legendary creature, the mermaid. Little by little, the feathers disappeared. The wings vanished. The claws became graceful tails. And before long, almost everyone believed that had always been their true form. History had quietly rewritten the myth. John William Waterhouse wasn't interested in repeating the popular version. He wanted to uncover the original one. Before picking up his paintbrush, he spent time studying ancient Greek artifacts in the British Museum. One object caught his attention: a vase more than 2,000 years old. Painted on its surface were the sirens, exactly as the ancient Greeks imagined them. Birds, not mermaids. That single discovery shaped the entire painting. Waterhouse wasn't inventing monsters. He was restoring forgotten history. If you've seen The Lady of Shalott, or Circe offering the cup to Ulysses, you already know Waterhouse had a fascination with mythology. Again and again, he painted stories where beauty concealed danger. Enchantresses, sorceresses, nymphs, women whose charm hid something darker beneath the surface. The sirens fit perfectly into that world. Because they never attacked with swords. They never chased anyone. They simply waited and sang. Sometimes, the most dangerous trap isn't force. It's desire. When Ulysses and the Sirens was exhibited at London's Royal Academy in 1891, reactions were mixed. Some visitors admired its dramatic energy. Others couldn't understand why the sirens looked so strange. Critics described them as oversized birds of prey. Some even found them disturbing. But that discomfort was exactly what made the painting unforgettable. Waterhouse had stripped away centuries of romantic fantasy. Instead of seductive mermaids, he gave audiences creatures that actually felt dangerous. Looking at the painting today, one detail becomes impossible to ignore. The weakest figure isn't one of the monsters. It's the hero himself. Odysseus cannot fight. He cannot move. He cannot even trust his own mind. His survival depends entirely on a decision he made before temptation arrived. Perhaps that's why the painting still feels so modern. Because everyone understands that feeling. The battle isn't always against the world. Sometimes, it's against ourselves. The myth, however, has one final chapter that many people have never heard. According to later Greek writers, the sirens lived under an ancient prophecy. It declared that if even one mortal ever heard their song and survived, their power would end forever. For countless generations, that never happened. Every ship that approached their island became another pile of broken wood and scattered bones. Until Odysseus arrived. He heard every note, every promise, every impossible temptation. Yet the ropes held. His crew refused to untie him, and the ship sailed safely beyond the island. For the first time in history, the sirens had failed. Legend says they couldn't bear the shame. One by one, they threw themselves into the sea. The hunters had become the defeated, and the man they tried to destroy became the one who ended them. Today, Ulysses and the Sirens hangs in the National Gallery of Victoria in Melbourne, Australia. More than 130 years after Waterhouse completed it, people still stop in front of it. At first, they admire the dramatic composition. Then they notice the creatures. And suddenly, they realize the myth they thought they knew was never quite true. Maybe that's why this painting continues to fascinate us. Not because it tells an old story, but because it reminds us how easily history can change. Sometimes the original version doesn't disappear. It simply waits, hidden beneath centuries of retelling. And perhaps that's the real lesson behind the Sirens. The greatest dangers rarely arrive looking like monsters. They arrive sounding exactly like the thing we've always wanted most. Knowledge, power, desire, success. Whatever form they take, their song is different for everyone. The real question is, if you had been standing on that ship, would you have covered your ears? Or would you have listened? Just once. If you enjoyed uncovering the hidden stories behind famous masterpieces, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join me for the next mystery hidden inside art history.